Hello viewers, you're welcome to today's episode of The Breakthrough with Ejwa Edubia. Today, I'll be speaking to Dr. Charity Efua Boateng, who is a lecturer at the University of Professional Studies. She teaches communication skills and scholarly writing. She comes from Peki in the Volta region and married to Dr. Seth Denchi Boateng with 2 boys. Mommy, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Mommy, please, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your family, how life was when you were growing up?
Actually, I come from a very lively family.
Okay.
My parents gave birth to 12 of us. If I say all the children from my mother's womb, 12 of us. And we grew up in the barracks. My father was in the army.
Okay.
And those days were very lively times. Carefree world and children around, joy and all those things. So life was very interesting when we were children.
Okay.
And we grew up, we attended school at Bema Camp and until my father went on retirement. We moved from there to Abilinkpi, then to Dansoma. But some of the interesting things as a child, those days was personally about me. Though my mother was well educated, as in those days, he was a pupil teacher. My father was in the army and had a very good position. He was a WO2. They decided to send all my siblings to school.
Okay.
But they left me at home. They want me to one day become the mother of everybody, so I'm not expected to go to school. That's one of the challenges of being a girl child.
Okay.
The house was lively. We had a lot of our cousins living with us, and they all went to school. So I didn't understand why I was supposed to be the mother of the house. Meanwhile, they were also around. But later I got to know that I was my father's first daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And be a first daughter, I should be the one to be at home to take care of the home.
Okay.
So I had a very tough time. And actually my siblings started school at the age of 3. I was then at the age of 4 and my mother thought I would be going to school. And fortunately for me, something motivated me. That was my father was sent to UK by the army to study. And he was writing us letters. By then I was a baby. I was just 6 months when he left. He was writing everybody, including me. So at the age of 4, my mother decided to read those letters to me, the postcards and the letters. And he told me, you will soon be going to school. Learn how to read. Then come and take these letters and postcards and read and know how much your father loved you.
Okay.
So I was looking forward to going to school. Then the usual army Land Rover came with my father driving. And then he came and then took my younger siblings to school, to the nursery school. So I thought the following year I would go. They didn't send me to school. That was 5 years, 6 years, the same. And so I realized I wasn't going, and I was always with my mother in the house. And the barracks would be very quiet because everybody had gone to school and all those things. Fortunately, I used to attend Sunday school with my siblings. And they give them money for offering, but they don't give me money because I wasn't even supposed to be part of the Sunday school. And the Sunday school teacher will always be saying that I was giving money and I use it to buy sweets or toffees or whatever. And it used to be embarrassing. And we were told that's where the whole thing, that when we pray, God will answer us. And I love the Sunday school. I love the beautiful stories and I don't want to stop going because I won't be able to give offering. So I prayed one day on the way to Sunday school. We were in a group going with my siblings. And when I prayed, a few steps ahead of me, I just looked on the floor and I found a coin.
Oh, okay.
So I picked it and I went to give offering that day.
Okay.
After that, I told myself, I prayed and I got the money, so I can pray and go to school. So I prayed. When I prayed, fortunately, I was in the house one day. I was there in the house with my mother around 10 a.m. The place quiet like that again. And then a corporal in the army came and said, my father said he should send me to school for interview. I haven't been to to school before. I was told to go for the interview. So I went for the interview. Fortunately, the things that my mother was teaching my siblings at home were the same things that was those questions asked. And I went through.
So your daddy being a soldier at that time, was he a rich man? And was everything provided for you at home?
Yes, he wasn't rich per se, but we had everything. I remember there was so much food in the house. We didn't lack any clothing, nothing. We're living a very good life. And people from all over, from our hometown and other people, they all come to the house. Surprisingly, I always see my mother, she wasn't a seamstress, but always sitting behind the sewing machine, sewing clothing, especially panties for the children at the barracks. And we had a very big pot, which my mother used to prepare food in the evening. All of them will come to the house, come and join us to eat. And those times there was no electricity in that area.
Sorry, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. So you're talking about your family.
Yeah.
Big pot. Please, you can continue.
So she will prepare food in that big pot, and all the people in the children in the barracks will come and enjoy. I remember we had plenty goats and sheep. So every week he's been slaughtering it. So the house was quite
always fun.
Yes.
So
fun.
was it throughout your life till you grew up?
No, until when we left the barracks, he came on pension. Or will I say retirement? That's when things did not work out well. It will be as a result of some of the unfortunate choices he made, where he invested his pension money. It did not help him. He bought a ferry boat. Meanwhile, he doesn't know how to swim. And on a few occasions, the people attempted to kill him, throw him into the water.
Oh, okay.
So he had a taxi, and the person driving the taxi wasn't rendering any good account. One day we woke up and we realized that the taxi was missing, the driver too missing, and that was the end. And he also had a big farm, a big land to make some large scale farming, and it didn't work. Actually, he had good food, the produce was there, but we couldn't get market for them. So all those things did not help him, and somewhere along the line we became poor.
So mommy, I heard some stories about your dad building a church for the Pentecost church.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration? What was the motivation that made him do that? And how has it affected his descendants?
He became a very serious Christian. That is, became a born again Christian. He accepted Christ after leaving the army. And he accepted Christ at Assemblies of God. But I believe it was divine direction from Assemblies of God. They advised him to join Church of Pentecost. And because of one or two inconveniences we were facing. And when he joined Church of Pentecost, he started worshiping God very well. And I believe the Holy Spirit was directing him. We were supposed to be going to the church at Nima. And those in Nima thought walking from Abilinkpe, because there was no thorough road to that place at that time, to Nima was a problem. So they decided to form a church, open a branch at Abilinkpe.
Okay.
And we were worshipping under a shed. So my father felt we had to build a place. So he and a few elders put money together, and the first Abilinkpe Church of Pentecost building was built on Elder Alphonse Chaponu's house. But my father contributed a lot in that. And then from there he started the farm at Kaswa, Kaswa Ofako. And that place was a pure village. My father was the first person to put up a cement building on that land.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And that place today didn't have any proper church building. It was a switch building with only one door, very small, like a small hut. So my father bought a larger plot of land, pulled down that building, and then built that quite a big church for. That place was a village. Now it's a very, very big city. But he built the second church building there. And later from Abilinkpe, we came to Dansuma. And we were worshipping in a school building, in a classroom. And the proprietor will come and beat the elders, driving us away. I don't know the kind of arrangement the elders had. But they were beating them. So my father asked, don't we have any plot of land to build? And then they showed us the plot of land. So my father again had to use the small money he had. That time we didn't have much, but the little money he had, he used it to build the greater part of that church.
Okay.
That one, he got people who assisted in building the old Dansoma Central Church.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I remember most of the time when he gets money, instead of telling the elders, he would just call us, and we are many, call us to accompany him, and you get one or two masons to help, and then we continue building the church. And Sunday they just call us to church. So Brother Bo and the children came to do some construction work here. They should come, and then they will say, we'll come for it. So God bless you.
Okay.
And we go. So all these things happen. That's how. So it wasn't only one church, but the church at Ofako was built solely by my father.
Okay.
But the one in Abilinkpe, he assisted with
greatly.
Yes, about 70%.
Okay.
Was his money, and then Danzuma, maybe I'll say 50%.
Okay,
yes.
So mommy, how has it affected his descendants positively?
Positively, today almost all my siblings, the 12 of us, everybody has his own house.
Okay.
And one day, I was just reflecting on something. One day, one of our apostles met me and asked, why don't I come to him? And I said, I started saying one or two things. Then I said, oh, my father was the one who built that church building at Ofako. And so then he asked, whose house is the one on the church campus? And I said, it's my father. And so when he came, he felt that they need land because their cars, they need a car park, and they want to pull down that structure. So he was asking the elders whose house was that? They claimed the land was for the church, and somebody came to build on it. They say, how could the church be there? Somebody will come and build on them. But the community members said, oh, a man just appeared from nowhere, came and developed the whole place, built the church, and then put the water tank. They built the water tank there, and the whole village had free water.
Okay.
And the man just left, and they never saw the man again. That was my father, and so he couldn't tell who was speaking the truth.
Okay.
So he said he went on his knees and prayed, and God told him that that man had built 3 churches for him.
Wow.
And meanwhile, he couldn't build one single house for himself. So God had made a covenant with the man. The children will build houses. And he himself, God will help the children to build their houses. They will not use their money. They will not use any effort.
Okay.
They will not borrow money.
And Mommy, have you experienced that?
All the houses here belong to me and my husband.
Okay.
We never went for loan.
Wow.
It's only our salaries.
Wow.
And we are teachers. How much is a teacher's salary? So you see, there's a miracle behind that. My husband, we haven't gone for loan anywhere. Wow. To put in all these structures. And these are not the only structures we have.
Okay.
I have another guest house at OEB. This is Malijo.
Okay.
The next town is OEB. You have a guest house there. We have put up buildings.
Okay. Mommy, so what inspired you to pursue a career in academia?
Oh, it has to do with my class 1 teacher. After suffering and suffering, I got to class 1. I had a very good class 1 teacher. She knew how to teach. That was the first class 1 teacher. And she loved everybody except me.
Mommy, you counted a lot too.
Yes. Apparently, well, when my mother was teaching my siblings, I told you I sit in the class. I learned my name, not only Afua as I was called when I was a child. So she taught me my name, though I wasn't going to school. And she knew I won't go to school. So she told me, your name is Charity Bo. And my father's, she taught me my father's name and her name. And I also learned the 1, 2, 3s and then the ABCDs. And the interview that we had was meant for a very special school. So they're looking for the most brilliant students in the barracks.
Okay.
So my parents knew, since I haven't been to school, I will not be qualified. So they were not sending me to the school. They just want me to go and try. When I come, say we sent you and you failed. That's why you. So
that was the intention of your parents. That was
the intention.
Wow.
And so the school was meant for General Champong, General Kufu's children, ambassadors' children, the army commissioners. The ministers those times were called commissioners.
Okay.
It's their children's school. So I wasn't supposed to be part of that school. So when I went, they asked me to count the 1, 2, 3s up to, I think, 6. They put the dummies there and I arranged them. And the ABCDs, so I arranged them. Because I saw my mother writing them and teaching her. They asked the basic question, my name, my father's name, my mother's name. And that was all the English I also understood. And I came. So when school opened for the term, I went to class 1. And when they were speaking English, it was strange. I didn't understand one single word. So whatever the teacher will be saying, I will just be looking at her. Meanwhile, the other children understood English. And I think that's why she didn't, but I didn't know at that time. Then one day, because she was a nice person, all the children would go to her, she would be playing during break and so on. So when I also joined, then she would just shout on me, go back and all those kind of things. So the class 2 teacher came and said, and started speaking tree to her. And I understood tree. I can't let him. So she said, why don't you like this girl? So she doesn't know anything. And she didn't understand how come she, not even a single word in English, how come she came first on the list.
Wow.
That means the interview I came first. So instead she believed my father did something. Meanwhile, my father doesn't fall among those high class people like the brigadiers, the major generals and all those. And how come my name came first? Then second term, the class teacher was changed. And this time, you happen to be a very tall woman, not as pretty as the first one. Had a very big mark on her face, tribal mark on her face. And I always mention her name, Mrs. Ibrahim. The woman got to know that I don't know anything. But she took her time to teach me and one or two of the children who were not that good. First, training our hands, these skills, learning how to. And then, whilst my colleagues were writing in exercise books with pencil, she got slates for us.
Wow.
First, we started writing the sand tree, which was first done only in the nursery school, but she brought her own sand tray, and then her own counters and all those things. And then while they were writing in exercise books, I was writing with my fingers and then went to the slates. And I started writing somewhere at the end of the term to the third term. And she loved us so much, and especially me, because I didn't have that love. I remember those times I came to love school. Though she wasn't singing, dancing with us like the first one, she was teaching.
Okay.
One day it rained, and my mother said nobody should leave the house for school. But I couldn't stand. I couldn't miss the. When I went, I was drenched in the rain. This woman had to move my things and wore his cardigan. Well, there are a lot of things I need to say about her, but she was the reason why I decided right from class 1 that I'll also be a teacher and show that kind of love to every school child, and I'll never hate anybody.
Okay.
Today, I'm so proud the way my students relate to me, because I now know that I'll be able to
fulfill that promise.
Yes.
To yourself.
Yes, to myself.
Okay.
That's what motivated. So I started teaching with GES, and then from there, I was made to teach in the university.
Okay. So, Mommy, what would be your advice to young career women or women who want to pursue a career in academia? What would be your advice to them?
Well, it's not that easy because there are a whole lot of stumbling blocks. I don't know whether it's because I happen to be a woman. But I'll say my husband too went through similar ones. For example, before I became a senior lecturer, the first time I was told, oh, the papers are okay, but because it will be going out, just add only one. And I had sent 2 articles for publication and they just came. So I added 2. It's when they came and they said, all the papers I published, they hadn't even sent it anyway. They said all the papers I published had problems, so they only accept 1 because I published that in the school journal. And it stayed for over 3 years before they gave me that report. So I should have to start all over, going to write not less than 5 publications. Meanwhile, I had published books too. As a writer, I've published books. And so I just told myself I will not do it. Then my new head of department insisted I've done a lot of work. So, and the articles I published are very good and in very good journals. So I should put in another application. So I put in the application. After 2 years, they told me, I asked them, up to now I haven't heard anything. They told me the documents were missing.
Hey.
I went and searched and we got them. After we got them, they started the whole process. just after a few days, they called and they said that I have gone for the documents. I said, no, I haven't gone for it. And on the day that the technical committee was supposed to meet and look at my work, they called me to say that no, they can't find the dossier, so they can't progress the work. So I went early in the morning to the HR. I said, the only copy there, give it to me to go and make copy. Yes. And then he said, oh, why? And I said, this is what they said. They said, I've come for it. Meanwhile, it's missing again. And then this lady started screaming. You call this person, where are my documents? Because there's records that it's been submitted. And he said, they'll say, I came for it. Who gave it? They gave it to me. A whole lot. And I carried, they even put it in my car. Then the woman called 3 people and told them that, do you know it's university property? So long as I submit it now for them, is there any document to show that I came, that I requested it before they gave it to me? So she's going to give them query. So when she was talking to the third person, then somebody just came with the documents. Before I was given the senior lecturership.
Which means you've been through a lot too.
But
like there have been battles in your life almost everywhere.
Yes, but there's always victory at the end. So later, this woman, the way she did everything. So I just asked him, why did you do this for me? And he said, when you cast your bread upon the waters, you find it. And her children needed accommodation in University of Ghana.
Okay.
And my husband was a senior tutor in one of the halls. He gave her children accommodation.
Wow.
So she was just looking for a way of showing appreciation. And she knew somebody was keeping my document. And she would not sit down for that to happen. So the fact is that if you do good to somebody, you are doing it for yourself. And I've always so been telling friends and colleagues that when we are working, don't think you are working for somebody. You are working for God. And it's God who pays you. I want to tell you, all these monies that I did not get, it's not only once. I can talk of several different occasions that my money was not given me.
God has a way of rewarding us for our good works.
Yes. And those who cheat, and maybe I have to chip in this, the teachers, my colleagues, education service, who go and sit at the school and will not teach. They will sit under the tree or in the common room, talk and eat and eat. At the end of the month, they go for their salaries. That money will not take you anywhere. And we're talking about some of the bad experiences. When I came from UK, I decided to teach go back to school to teach. The headmaster just decided that you not let them pay my salary.
Wow.
So and if a student falls sick, these days I hear of these children in school falling sick, and the teachers, I put them in my car, drive them to school, and then the head and then the assistant will be virtually insulting me. Why did I do that? Children sick in school. The school doesn't have a bus, or the bus had a problem. And you don't want me to carry the children to the hospital.
Yes.
Then do you think we'll give you money for fuel? Meanwhile, you don't even give me money. I drive from here to let me mention the school. Drive from here to Dodowa, from Accra, Legon campus to Dodowa. And I wasn't collecting any allowances. And from Ganata to the clinic. Why should I say I'm looking for money? But you don't pay me all those things. But God in his own way just made somebody call me to come and do part-time at University of Professional Studies. And it was from there that I was taking. So looking at that salary a year. But when I was there teaching, that was where, and I was teaching very honestly, if you live in Britain, you work like a horse. You have to be there very early. And you teach, you do everything to the core. Then this is my own country. These are my children. Those are whites. I'm not related to them. But these are my children. Why don't I teach them very well like how I work over there? So when I started doing that, all the other teachers didn't seem to agree with me. And instead of the headmaster rewarding me for doing a good job, also decided to persecute me. So I wasn't receiving salary. But here we are. Do you get the point? Yes. So I would advise that whatever the situation, work like you are working for God, and God will by all means open doors for you, and God will by all means teach, pay you. So we shouldn't, and I want to advise my fellow teachers in GES that they should work well and get good grades for the children. Let the children study well and do better than the private schools. Then we don't have any problem again.
Okay. Mommy, thank you very much for this fruitful discussion. I've really learned a lot from you today, and I hope our viewers will also learn same. So we really appreciate your time, your patience and understanding, and then telling us a lot that we need to know about life today. Viewers, thank you very much for being with us. And we also appreciate Dr. Charity Efua Boateng for coming on the show. Please, we will come your way next time with another personality who also has an interesting story to tell. Stay tuned and subscribe on Edubia TV.